The fisherman found a cucumber-shaped copper jar brimming with something mysterious. The mouth of the jar was sealed with lead and stamped with the seal of our Lord Solomon, David's son. Allah praise them. Seeing this, the fisherman rejoiced and said, "If I sell this in the brass bazaar, I could get 10 golden dinars for it." He shook the jar, and finding it heavy, murmured, "I wish I knew what was in it. I feel as if I must find out, so I'll open it and look inside, and then I'll store it in my bag to sell at the brass market." Taking out a knife, he pried the lead until he had loosened it from the jar. He set the seal on the ground and turned the vase upside down, shaking it and trying to pour out whatever could be inside. Surprisingly, nothing emerged, and the fisherman stood in wonder. But suddenly a spiral of smoke burst from the jar, rising toward the heavens. The fisherman marveled as it was drawn into the air, ascending far above him. As it reached its full height, the thick vaporous smoke condensed and formed a genie, so huge that his head brushed the sky and his feet touched the ground. The genie's head curved as large as a dome, his hands dangled big as pitchforks, his legs were long as masts, his mouth as wide as a cave, his teeth like large stones, and his nostrils flared like pitchers' spouts. His eyes shone like 2 lamps, and his face proved fierce and threatening. Now, when the fisherman saw the genie, his muscles quivered, his teeth chattered, and his throat grew too dry to swallow. Paralyzed, clenched with fear, he could do nothing. The genie looked at him and cried, "There is no God but the God, and Solomon is the prophet of God." He added, "O apostle of Allah, do not slay me. Never again will I oppose you or sin against you." The fisherman replied, "O genie, did you say Solomon, the apostle of Allah? Solomon has been dead for nearly 1800 years, and now we're in the last days of the world. Where have you come from? What's happened to you? Why have you been in that jar?" When the evil spirit heard the fisherman's words, he answered, "There is no God but the God. Be happy, fisherman." "Why should I be happy?" asked the fisherman. "Because," replied the genie, "you must die a terrible death this very hour." "You deserve heaven's abandonment for your good tidings," cried the fisherman. "For what reason should you kill me? What have I done to deserve death? I, who freed you from the jar, dragged you from the depths of the sea, and brought you up to dry land. Ask me only in which way you will die, how I will slaughter you," said the genie. "What's my crime?" the fisherman persisted. "Why such retribution?" "Hear my story, O fisherman," cried the genie. The fisherman swiftly answered, "Tell it, but tell it briefly. My heart is in my mouth." And so the genie began his tale. "I am one of the heretical genii," he explained. "I, along with the famous Sakar al-Hini, sinned against Solomon, David's son. After this, the prophet Solomon sent his minister Asaph ben Barchiah to seize me. This minister bound me and took me against my will, bringing me to stand before the prophet Solomon like a supplicant. When Solomon saw me, he appeared to Allah, and demanded that I embrace the true faith and obey Allah's commands. I refused, and so he sent for this jar and imprisoned me in it, sealing it with lead and stamping it with the Most High name. He ordered another spirit to carry me off and cast me into the center of the ocean. I lived there for 100 years, and during this time I said in my heart, I'll forever reward whoever releases me with the greatest of riches. But an entire century passed, and when no one set me free, I began the 2nd century, saying, I'll reveal the secret treasures of the earth to whoever will release me. Still no one set me free, and soon 400 years had passed. Then I said, I'll grant 3 wishes to whoever will release me. Yet again no one set me free. Then I became angry, so furious, I said to myself, from now on I'll kill whoever releases me, and I'll let him choose what type of death he will die. And now, as you're the one who's released me, I give you the choice of your death.